Imagine investing $1 million in companies that will provide you a good returns, but also do not damage the environment. So raise your hand if you're going to invest in oil. Please do now. And raise your hands if you are going to invest in a beauty company. Disappointing, but I would expect that most of you will have invested in the beauty company, and they produce as much damage as the oil companies. Now, put yourself in the position of an analyst who is in the banks must assess thousands of companies for their environmental impacts. And they need a scalable means to do the job to the highest standard, as the banks need to decarbonize their portfolio and connect the environmental factors to financial risks. We are FiData, and we are developing an ESG AI assistant to auto-generate detailed environmental reports. Let's consider a fantastic beauty company that has an end-of-year report of 450 pages, and they boast about how good they are doing for the environment. The analyst needs to read the report, extract the environmental matrix, and use their knowledge to critically assess the action of the company. Conservatively, that task would take a day and a half. But with FiData, the same analyst could just click a button and wait for the task to be done for them. And in just 15 minutes, they will receive the results. Now, data providers have limited ability to assess company environmental impacts, and that's because they provide the metrics, but not the explanations how those metrics have been achieved. Large language models, which is the technology we are using, can help in that direction, but without being rigorously trained, it is not reliable. So we are developing a POC with proprietary methodology and training data that will allow us to auto-generate reports better and at a fraction of the time. And the beauty of this is that you don't need to be an analyst to use the tool, because we provide the explanation on how the assessment has been done. So we make teams 30 times more productive. Our revenue model is simple. It's a standard multi-tier price that is proportional to the number of assessments the company does, okay? So in this way, we serve smaller institutions that are outpriced by data providers and bigger ones. The EU policy is driving this market, but think about it. We are able, with our technology, to license to multiple departments to the same clients: private equities, asset manager, consultancy. We produce better results than data providers who charge hundreds of thousands of pounds for incomplete data sets. So we estimate that our obtainable market for the EU and the UK is well above 1 billion. We have 2 current pilots with a small commercial bank in Italy and with an asset manager in the UK. We won a prize from the Greening Finance Network for our solution. And we are a team of scientists, financier, and ESG expert. And my ask for you, and we have 40 years in delivering technology at the highest level. My ask for you today is to make introduction to us, to private equity and asset manager, head of sustainability, because we want at least double the number of pilots as we are fundraising in Q4 2025. Our solution is an excellent way to embed consideration, environmental consideration, to every single operation of the bank, and moving towards a truly sustainable and green finance. Thank you very much.
Maria, well done. Right, moving on to the Q&A. Hello. Please do get your questions in using the QR code above us. Let's kick one off with why banks would use you over tools in Gen IA like ChatGPT, for example.
Yeah, so I think that AI is fundamentally hyped and everybody talks about it. And probably most of you use ChatGPT. And it's a great tool, but effectively, if you look at the results, you always need to rework what has been done, right? And those tools are in no way fit for a regulated market such as the bank. So really our value proposition is to be absolutely rigorous and systematic in the way in which we train to really mimic the work of the analyst, and over time we will produce more sophisticated products that will also look at transition risk and connecting financing with environmental factors for each single company. So most of the banks at the moment rely on statistics, and we want to get out of that. We need to analyze companies and how they perform to enable sustainable banks to take action for those companies.
Okay. First question from the audience asks, is your solution scalable to other industries?
Yes, we have. We are working. We have been accepted in a Crédit Agricole accelerator, and one of the things they have done is also to connect us with corporate. And our solution can be deployed for one of the biggest problems that is plaguing the calculation of CO2 emissions for companies, which is scope-free emissions. So with our tool, you can actually assess better what is the emissions of your supply chain. And you can do it. Remember, it's very important that we do it at scale because we have very limited amount of time to be able to act.
Okay. Tell us more about your business model.
So we have, as I said, a SaaS platform, and our unit of price, effectively, it's the answer that we generate for each question, and that's because our biggest cost is that. So we use that as a way to measure both our cost and our revenues. And we want to cater for relatively small banks who want to do maybe smaller, most of the times they don't have a big ESG team, so they don't need to do too many reports. So let's say an order of 500. They can do that affordably. They are outpriced from data providers, and very often they simply need a cheap solution to do it quickly because they don't have an insight team. From that on, we increase the cost. Obviously, the more people use, the cheaper it is for us, and we have huge margin every time we produce an answer, and then we have obviously an enterprise model where we are able to do more sophisticated things, such as not only in terms of adding better services such as API and things like that, but really to do more ad hoc model and more sophisticated model that requires more skill, and then they are more valuable and they are priced at very high value. But fundamentally, the basic assessment is really accessible to everybody, so we can build our brand in this very competitive market.
Okay, I think that brings us to time. Let's just get one last one in very quickly. Where does the data you train on come from?
Well, it comes from, in some cases, public report, and also from report that we obtain through our pilots. And the other very important thing is that LLM have a huge bias towards confirming things. So we do a lot of what are called negative testing. So we insert and inject wrong reports to make sure that when things are wrong, the LLM knows how to discard it. So we are perfectly comfortable in saying, we didn't find anything in this report. Or, we don't try to please, we try to give a ground truth.
Thank you very much indeed. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.